For me, he's the king of Conmen. His build resembled a beer bottle that was a bit bulbous. That's why they started calling him Kaiser. He dreamed of being a professional footballer without actually kicking a ball. He wanted to be close to famous people and have pretty girls around him. Kaiser knew it would be a huge disaster if he ran onto the pitch, because it would become clear he couldn't really play football. It turned out Kaiser didn't speak English at all and was just babbling nonsense into the phone.
Get it back up! Get it back up!
It's a goal!
You're listening to a premium episode of Footy Past Stories, a podcast where football history comes to life. This week, we're revisiting a charismatic con artist whose story will make you laugh many times. Carlos Kaiser spent years as a professional player without making a single appearance. He pulled it off thanks to elaborate tricks and lies. His story is presented by sports journalist David Čermák, whose voice is powered by artificial intelligence. Footy Past Stories connects fans all over the world.
Lots of little boys dream that one day they'll play for a big football club. Carlos Kaiser went even further. He pretended that dream for real. I'm convinced Carlos Kaiser is the greatest football fraudster of all time. For me, he's the king of con men. And even if it sounds strange, his story is simply funny, magical, unrepeatable, and I love it. Who exactly was Carlos Kaiser? His real name is Carlos Henrique Raposo. He was born in 1963 in Brazil, and from a young age dreamed of becoming a professional footballer, just with one small detail. He never wanted to kick the ball. And the magical part is, he actually managed it. Officially, his career began sometime around 1979. Records say it ended in 1993, but he himself wrapped it up 10 years later, on his 40th birthday. He invited journalists, announced he was retiring, and ceremoniously declared, "It was beautiful, but that's enough." In reality, we're talking about 13 to 14 years, during which he didn't play a single competitive match. And I mean that literally. There isn't a single match report, no statistics, no video, no proof that Carlos Kaiser ever actually took the field. Maybe he played a few friendlies, maybe not even that. He himself claimed he turned out in Mexico for Puebla or in Argentina for Independiente. But again, no one ever confirmed it. Not club archives, not the media, nobody. If he had actually come on in those games, it probably wouldn't have gone very well. According to his former teammates, Kaiser simply couldn't play football. He shared the same nickname as the legendary Franz Beckenbauer, Der Kaiser. Carlos said his friends gave it to him because his style of play reminded them of the German world champion. That's a bit odd, since Beckenbauer was a defender and Kaiser later posed as a striker. But there's another version. In Brazil, they sold a beer brand called Kaiser. And teammates supposedly said his figure resembled the bottle, slightly bulbous. That's how he got the name Kaiser. So the nickname may have a completely different origin. Either way, it stuck with him for life. Why did he do it in the first place? He dreamed of being a professional footballer without kicking a ball. He longed for the life of a football star, without the grind of training and without risking that someone would find out he couldn't actually play. He had a hard life from childhood. His mother gave him up shortly after birth, and he was raised by a foster family. His parents died soon after, and from the age of 13 he got by on his own. Maybe that's why he wanted to be somebody. He wanted to be near famous people and have pretty girls around him. And if talent wouldn't get him there, then fraud would. Or rather a long series of frauds. He called himself an anti-footballer. His supposed career started in Mexico, but other accounts say he never left Rio de Janeiro and may not even have had a passport. So the stories diverge right from the start. But one thing is certain. He managed to convince people around him that he was a professional player, even though he never showed anything on the pitch. Here's where the fun begins. His anecdotes are legendary, and each one tops the last. For a while he was at the Brazilian club Bangu. He was close with the club president. They went to dinners, they were friendly. And that president, even if he suspected Kaiser was a fraud, decided he'd force him to play at last. He ordered the coach to put him in the squad for a league match. Kaiser sat on the bench. The team was losing, and from the stands came the order to send Kaiser on. Kaiser knew it would be a huge disaster if he ran onto the pitch, because it would reveal he couldn't play. So during the warm-up he climbed over the fence, ran to the stand, and attacked a fan. He claimed they had insulted him, but he probably made that up. In any case, he was shown a red card and couldn't take part in the match. In the dressing room, the furious club president stormed at him, but Kaiser kept a straight face and said, "Boss, they insulted you. They called you a fraud. They insulted your family. I had to defend your honor." The president paused for a moment, then after a few seconds hugged him, and on top of that gave him a contract for another half year.
Did you enjoy the story? This was just a small part of it. You can listen to the full premium episode as a member of Footy Past Stories Premium on Patreon. As a supporter, you'll get access to the complete archive of premium episodes, downloadable special illustrations, and an exclusive weekly newsletter with stories from football history. Thank you for your support.